our souls is this curiosity. Each one of us is capable of incredible things. Things you can't even possibly imagine that you could do until you're faced to do so. We're talking about physical acts. I mean, I can give you something like you've heard the stories of a woman whose child gets hit by a car or gets pinned under a car and she just lifts the car to get the child out. We can give it scientific answers or different reasons, but she didn't care why it happened. She just knew she had a reason, a focus, a purpose to carry it out, and she did something incredible. Wicca is that science of trying to discover how to do the incredible on a daily basis. How do we open ourselves up to doing incredible things? That's a hard thing to do, because every day you get... How many of you actually believe magic works? Oh, good. How many of you hear that there's no such thing as magic on a regular basis? Okay? Imagine that. That's a really hard thing to face right away. Everybody in this room, raise their hands. So you're in a room of people who do believe in magic. How many people understand magic? Dodd, you don't count. And you could have been asking me to prove that, but you know, I'm on the side of you guys. I don't understand a lot of it, but I've seen it work, both for good and for...
If you've seen the movie What the Bleep Do We Know,
Mm-hmm.
physics is working on the quantum level exactly what you're talking about magical thinking.
That's one of our training manuals around here. It is. It's okay, and scientific. Now, one of the things you have to understand is all science, modern science, is based on some of the principles of Wicca and magic. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit about what it is, but what is chemistry but alchemy derived from a lot of its spiritualism? Astronomy is an extension of our ability of astrology. Our building of buildings come from us building monuments at one time. We built monuments, and now we build our own monuments to ourselves. You've got so many things. The most important one that I always go out is that 150 years ago, if you had a headache and your medicine woman, your healing woman, hadn't been caught and run out of business, you'd go down there to ask, I really have this terrible headache. And she said, well, I can beat this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the willow tree, take the inside of the bark, grind it up, and make it into a pill, a lozenge. And you take 2 of these every day, and your headaches will go away. Sounds pretty weird, doesn't it? It does, but today, we would tell, the doctor would say, go get 2 aspirin, same medication, same thing, and give it to your patients and give me a call. The thing is that a lot of this stuff, medicine, herbalism is about observing the natural world and trying to use it. And our society, in our very industrial society, which I'm grateful for in many, many ways, does try to take out what is once magical, what's mystical, what's observational, what's understanding of nature, and takes it and commodifies it. Believe me, even to the point of what is. And Wicca began in that same sort of way. Prior to the 1950s, you had a lot of what we had witchcraft movements, New Thought movements, lots of people would call themselves traditional witches, and something dramatically changed in the 1950s. A gentleman by the name of Gerald Gardner basically mass-produced the first Wicca books. He used industrial society to create books and talk about witches. But not only did he do that, but first time he went forward publicly and said, if you read this book and practice of it, you too can be a witch. Prior to that, Wicca, and he basically brought the name Wicca to the forefront. A lot of people say he coined the phrase to establish his idea. Prior to that, it existed in all sorts of different forms, just like a lot of things do in this world. And industrial society likes to give labels to things. So we became Wiccans when we finally caught up to the industrial society. But prior to that, it was all sorts of things. Don and Crystal are from a family that practiced it here for well over 100 years in one form or another. It had spiritualism, they called it, for parts, but what it was is always, ultimately, a belief in the natural world. And that's important. Now you can see the teas there. They've been formed. They're drinkable. Feel like they became alive. Something dried looks alive. I mean, these are hand-sewn tea leaves around a flower. I found them. I like them because they are just so, they're pretty. Make this great tea. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it also is, for me, it shows a transformation of what I'm hoping happens in a lot of people's lives. A lot of us have a dead, dried belief in magic. It's from our childhoods. It's about the moment of our first thinking, our first awakening. And what it is, we don't really believe it anymore. We want to, we try to, but we don't believe it anymore. And so we get there and things can be this. So we hope that today's open house is like water for you. We hope that it gives you back some of your ability to portray childhood, the idea of it. Because children are the best magicians in the world. They get what they want, one way or another. And they're targeting. I mean, anyone's seen it. They'll do anything to get it. They'll make wishes, they'll beg, they'll plead. But they have a focused will that we lose in life because we're told we have to live by society's rules. So let's get into this next bit. The one thing about being a witch is, why would any of you be here in the 21st century to be a witch? Come on, it's the most derogatory term we use in our society. We use it for a substitute for the word bitch on a regular basis. We have a term in society called a witch hunt, which means you go out and hunting people. We have ideas of Salem. We have it as the most evil thing in Christianity. They say it's in their books. So why would anyone want to be a witch? I'm going to leave that open. Anyone? Why don't you, Liz? Why would you want to be a witch? Why are you a witch?
I am a witch because I am a witch. I mean, it's not something that you can turn on or off.
Yeah.
It's just part of who you are.
Okay. Now Michael's one of our newest students.
Just because it feels right.
This feels right?
Nothing else felt right.
Anyone else? How about you, Don?
I can't be anything else.
For me, it was about control. Getting some control back in my life. My life was out of control on a lot of different levels. I had just stopped drinking about a year and a half after that. I was a Mr. Mom. I started doing tarot card readings, and I had come from a very difficult background and religion. I believed that, actually, let me be frank with you, I thought the world was going to end in 2000. And I was pretty convinced of it up until I became awakened in 1991. I mean, I was 1990, but by that point I just stopped thinking about the end world was going to come in. Because that's a big difference. One thing I'm asking you to believe today is that the world is not coming to an end just because we're on it. We might come to an end if we do it ourselves in, but the world's not coming to an end, and I'm going to ask you to believe that the world has got some time. It's been here for a long time. There's probably some dinosaur philosophers saying, we're getting too many of us, we're eating in the herds, we're eating everything, and when we're gone, there's nothing going to be left. And voila, the little mice that were standing around goes, oh yeah, it's our turn next. And there might be some species on the side just going around going, wait until those humans are done, their time's going to come up. But life itself is the opposite of entropy. Life itself organizes itself. It changes, it mutates, it evolves, and it becomes more. If you believe anything, it becomes more. Human beings become more, ideas become more, and now we're on the edge of an incredible change in society. And people have now studied, Wicca and magic. So, how do we reach that? How do we reach that moment? Right now, I cannot convince you one way magic works or not. I mean, I can't pick up this wand, and I cannot go, that, and lift things. I'm working on it, but I can't do that yet. For one reason, I can't bring my mind to do that, because I have to accept the rules of nature. I have to accept the rules of our society. Until I can figure out how to get around them in my mind, and doing it in a place where it's outside my mind. Because in mind, I can easily, and all of you in your imagination here right now, if you really work on it, close your mind, you could imagine me lifting this stone in your minds. How many of you could actually imagine it happening? You guys can visualize it. Magic is about taking that visualization and making it the possible. That's hard. If any one thing you could change in your life, or one thing you could do to show that would convince you of magic, what would it be? How about you?